what's happening is while you're noticing the sound of the bell, that process of your mind wandering and coming back is still happening, but it's happening very, very, very quickly. There's a tension between the mind's desire to bring your attention to whatever, and the mind and body's desire to connect to the sound of the bell. Let's do it again. So that is our desire, the desire of the body and the mind, to be aware of the passage of time. We want to be in time, in the present moment, noticing time passing. And the best word to describe this is not mindfulness, it's presence. Because presence means that you're physically here in 4-dimensional space, 3 physical dimensions and time. Now, the thing that's going to draw you out of this more than anything else, very probably, is thoughts. So you want to be able to intervene in them if your mind's busy. So if you close your eyes and imagine it's a dark night and you're outside and you've got a sparkler and children will, you give them a sparkler and they'll move it in circles or they'll do a figure of 8. And because of the light's impression in the eye, it's as if they're drawing the 8 with the sparkler. And of course you can draw any other number if you want. So what we do is allow the brain to generate random numbers. So if we give it the task of creating random numbers, that's what it will do. So if I inform my brain to tell me random numbers between 1 and 10, it will come up with 7, 9, 7, 4, 8, 5, 6, 10, 1. And what I do is as the brain pops the number up, as the number pops up in my mind and I become aware of it, I imagine I'm out there in a dark night and I'm drawing that number in the air in front of me with a sparkler. So I'm not actually moving my arm, I'm just imagining that I'm moving my arm and that I'm drawing in the air that number with a sparkler. And I just let the brain pop up the numbers, anything between 1 and 10. This is a practice I call character counting. We just practice this for a couple of minutes. Random numbers between 1 and 10. When the number pops up, imagine you're drawing it in front of yourself on a dark night with a sparkler. Okay, and so now what we want to do is to move over to a mantra. If we only want a simple mantra, we can use the self-compassion practice. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be free from suffering. Let's repeat that. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be free from suffering. And we're listening to the mind constructing the words. So we're listening internally for the mind to repeat the words. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be free from suffering. If you prefer a more complex mantra, you've got a whole multitude of choices. The one that I use, rest in natural great peace, this exhausted mind, beaten helplessly by karma and neurotic thoughts, like the relentless fury of the pounding waves on the infinite ocean of samsara. Rest in natural great peace. Totally up to you which mantra you use, but you're actually listening to your inner voice, whether that's words, images, or symbols, arising in your mind, repeating the mantra. A couple of minutes of mantra meditation. And what we do now is check into the present moment. We know how to check into our physiology with this set of practices. What we do is, once we've calmed down the mind's desire to focus on something, so it becomes a bit more easily influenced, we check in with the present moment. And to check in with the present moment, we just need to ask ourselves a question. Am I aware of the passage of time? And by asking that question, the mind checks. It has to check to know if it's aware of time passing. And then we find ourselves in the present moment while we're checking. And if the mind is powerful again, we then move on to labeling, labeling the thought. So we'll do the labeling from the experience of awareness of the passage of time in the present moment. And the places to observe the passage of time that are always there. One is the movement of the belly, continuous movement of the belly, the rising and falling. The other is the passage of time. And so when thoughts arise, or the mind gets drawn away, we return our attention to the movement of the belly, the continuous cycle of the breath, or the passage of time. Through an awareness of sound. So we're observing the cycle of the movement of the breath in the belly, and we're noticing the cycle, the continuous background sound, even if that sound is just the sound of the breath. All gently moving through time. And when the mind wanders or thoughts arise, we just acknowledge that, saying in the mind, thinking, thinking. Back to time passing, sound and the breath, thoughts arise, thinking, thinking. Repeat. Just practice that for a couple of minutes, labeling the thoughts. again, checking in with the present moment, the passage of sound through time, the passage of the breath, the rising and falling of the breath, all moving through time. And then whenever you're ready in your very own time, noticing time passing in the bell. Okay, that's the big green slow down or stop button. What we're doing is stepping off of the roller coaster of the mind, the past, the future, all of the stuff of the mind, and we're stepping into the present moment of recognition, but we're observing it, we're witnessing it. We just become the witness of that experience, which is presence. And that's a good way to train it and a good way to get into it.